Today we are going to be working on a DIY fountain. I've had a few people comment on the fountain that I have over in the backyard and have asked how it is that I did that. So I'm going to be making another one. This is going to be for the front yard in our avocado bed. And I went with a bit of a different style pot this time. I thought about doing like a DIY situation where, you know, you create the base using like masonry tools and like cement, like a quickcrete type of cement. I decided not to go that route because I found this pot at Home Goods, good old Home Goods, and it's a beautiful terracotta. It already has that like aged look to it, which I really enjoy. It looks very European. So we are going to be using this pot. I have copper that was actually left over from the last DIY fountain that I did, a copper pipe. I purchased a pump, and we're going to be using waterproof patch and seal Gorilla tape, as well as water weld, waterproof for fiberglass, PVC, plastic, copper, brass, iron, aluminum. This is essentially a putty, and this is what we are going to putty up the hole with. Yesterday I already worked on, since this is terracotta, I chipped away at the circle, and I will bring you in closer so you can see, but I chipped away at the drainage hole to be able to create a bigger slot for the outlet to go through for the pump. That way I don't have a cord hanging out of the side of the pot, which is how my other one looks. So I wanted this one to look a lot more seamless, a lot more professional. So I took the time to chip that to make the hole larger for the outlet to go through. So I'll bring you in close. Let's go ahead and jump into it, and hopefully it turns out great. So here is what the inside of the pot currently looks like. I have here the copper pole, which is what we're going to be using. That's just a copper pipe, actually, not a pole. And then, as I mentioned before, I chipped at the drainage hole to be able to make it large enough for the outlet to come out. So this is what the plug looks like. And this is what we will be connecting into an extension cord. And then this is the pump. And the pump, we are going to be adding some of that tape to it, and to make sure that the copper pipe doesn't like move anywhere, and stays upright and stays in the middle. So this is what the pot looks like close up. Like I said, it is terracotta. It's definitely a lot more aged. You can tell they've also painted it over with maybe a different color. If I want to, if I don't like how it looks after a while, I can always go in with like garden lime and age it even further. But this is essentially how it's assembled. So this is the smaller terracotta pot with a shallow basin, and then inside I've placed it's already nice and snug. This is the plastic pot that I've placed inside. And this is essentially what it looks like inside. You can see here is my pump, here is the pipe, and here is the tape that I've placed. I also added 2 rocks on either side just to like increase the stability. So I will be adding, I'll reassemble it essentially. We're going to add rocks and fill it up with water. And I've already tested the pump, so I know that it does work. But I don't want to burn it out, so I quickly turned it off, and let's go ahead and fill it up. So this is a copper pipe that I utilize. I just picked this up from my local big box store, and they typically have them around where you would be getting the copper pipe. And they're kind of hanging. They're not always on a shelf. So definitely just look around for it, or you can look it up online. It should tell you what aisle it's in. But essentially you just tighten it as you're going. So as you can see, you're essentially scoring the copper pipe, and you're just going round and round and round, and eventually it'll start cutting through. So you'll need to tighten it some more, provide some tension, and continue scoring. And then eventually the pipe will just snap off. So you're left with the size that you want. And again, I want to make this kind of like a bubbler. So I'm cutting it pretty short, so that way it's not like a huge flow is cascading down. And you'll see I actually end up switching up this DIY fountain. Originally, I thought I wanted to have the shallow basin inside, and I didn't really actually like it. Maybe if I had a similar pot that had the same texture and color as the one that I purchased from Home Goods, I would have liked it a bit more, but it didn't fit the overall aesthetic, in my opinion. Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are, or if you think I should find a similar pot and add it to the top and make it more of that cascading effect. But I ended up liking the way it turned out. It looked a lot more simple and is a bit more my style. Especially with our yard, we have a lot of like free-flowing plants, and I like the European aesthetic, but it's definitely with a California twist. So it's a little bit more relaxed with the style that I ended up going with, and removing the smaller terracotta pot. As you can see, it definitely looks a lot more relaxed without the smaller terracotta basin that I was mentioning. And I really like how it ended up turning out. The rocks also provide a great space for the pollinators to sit on top. I've already seen hummingbirds and bees and lots of dragonflies lately. I didn't used to see a ton of dragonflies in our yard, but I learned that they do need a water source. So I love our pollinators, and I'm so happy that I'm able to just create an ecosystem where nature feels like they're invited into my yard. That brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure to like and share if you enjoyed today's video, and I cannot wait to catch up soon. Please comment down below any questions you have, and I'll see you in the next one.